And I totally agree with you. It would seem that in Taraba, you are also looking at, ranching as a solution. You're not very happy with, open grazing. You think it's a source of conflict. But considering the resistance that we're beginning to see around, would you say that that is still the way that Taraba is looking at that? Implementing, we know that it's not going to, the law is not going to kick in until sometime at the end of this month. Is this still something that the state governor are they looking at extending the period before implementation of the law actually begins?
Because, well, you are saying that because that's part of the talking point from the other side, that look, they didn't have enough time, it's too sudden, it came too quickly and everything. But like you asked yesterday, the question is this: how many more people will have to die first before you put some law in place to regulate relationship? How many more people will have to die? If we have to wait a little bit longer, if we have to take our time, if some people are telling us not to implement them, if some people are threatening, how long do we have to wait? As we wait, more people are going, more people are dying. Farmers are getting, Fulani herdsmen are going into farms, attacking people. How long are we going to wait until the last person, what last blood will be shed before we agree? So I think that this is just one way that the state government was trying to solve a problem that is existing, that's been there. The issue of interaction, that if you limit, because basically that's the problem. The problem is you have Fulani herdsmen who are going into these lush farms and, eating up the crops and all of that.
Do you believe that would really solve the problem, considering that people are beginning to read that this could be that, it means you don't want us in your state?
No, it's not. The law itself is not, it's colorblind. It's colorblind. It's a very colorblind law. Again, like I go back to Taraba, that in Taraba we have a unique situation. Maybe elsewhere someone will say, oh, you're targeting us. In Taraba State, I give you a very good example. The Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Aide Pt.3, is a cow-owning Christian. He owns cows on the Mambila. So this law, in a way, is going to probably affect him in terms of ranching, in terms of the penalties that go into the law. So it's not targeted at any tribe. It's not targeted at any religion. In Taraba State, our laws are not targeting people. It's colorblind, but of course there are people who think that this is targeting them. Now, I ask you another question, Mokwe. What could be the alternative to that? If there's a better way, like Governor Darius keeps saying, if you have an alternative, an option, a different one altogether, he is too willing. He's waiting for you in Jalingo. He could even come here in Abuja. Tell him what other option, and stakeholders, have told
You've heard of the cattle colonies the president is proposing?
Well, that's a different kettle of fish altogether, because in Taraba State, we are actually grappling with how we are going to ranch cows and sell even the ideas to the people that, run around with the cows. So part of the problem is that we do not think there's any other option, really. Because when you look at it, what else is there to do? Because the problem basically is that you have Fulani herdsmen who need to feed their cows, and so because of the dryness in some part of the country, the Sahel, and then they move down. The problem has been analyzed scientifically that that's part of the problem, that they need to feed their cows. So when they go in here, and then they attack farms and people are killed. Now the life of a cow is not as important as the life of a human being. No cow, no amount of cow is worth the life of one single individual. We must face that up. And we must be concerned, we must care about the cows. And that's what this law seeks to do. The law is seeking to take care of even the cows, in the sense that if we ranch these cows, we'll get better meat, we'll get better yield. And then, of course, we regulate relationship between the farmers and the herders. So, yes, we need to care about the cows, but not at the expense of human beings.
I want to ask you quickly, you have heard the allegations, I'm sure you've seen it, attributed, and I don't know how true they are, because I did not see the emir say it, but those allegations have been credited to him, and I'm yet to see a rebuttal that that there were reports that the governor of Taraba maintains a militia which carried out some killings in Taraba State, and that these reports were forwarded, I don't know whether to the presidency or so, but nothing was done about that particular situation. How true, or how, I don't know, first of all, if you've come across those allegations, and how much importance, how much weight you're attaching to it.
They're in the public domain, and it's very weighty. It's very weighty when you suggest that the governor of a state is actually training and arming a militia to actually engage in genocidal activities. It's really weighty, and you don't make, that shouldn't come from maybe a very, very serious quarters, unless if you have everything locked down in terms of evidence. At what point are these militias trained? And if you look at the nature of our state, we're not that kind of people. Again, that's why I say that it goes down to who we are in Taraba State. Taraba State is a state that is multi-ethnic and all of that. I grew up with Fulani people. We live with Fulani. This Governor Darius, couldn't have been able to actually set up a militia. Who was he going to discuss it with? His number 2 man, the deputy governor of the state, is Fulani. The militia is supposed to go kill Fulanis, apparently, from the accusations that are out there. Who was he going to discuss it? He discussed everything with his deputy governor. I'm just giving you scenarios on why it's impossible for you to actually target a tribe.
Has the governor reached out to the emir of Kano to talk about the allegations?
Well, you see, the governor of Taraba State doesn't have the luxury of an emir who is actually presiding over just, you know, a group of people who probably belong to one tribe and belong to maybe one religion and all of that. That is the emir. He has got the luxury to say all these things. But for the governor has to be a bit more circumspect in his, you know, in his pronouncement, because presiding over a whole range of people. His pronouncement, he cares about the life of the Fulani man, he cares about the life of the Yandang, the Mumuye. He controls everyone. So he needs to be careful how he talks about it. Some people can bandy those kind of talk around, but not the governor. So like I was saying, how do you even raise up a militia? How do you discuss it with? The governor's deputy is a Fulani man. So one of the most powerful men in Taraba State today, who is in charge of local government and chieftains, is Fulani. We've got top Fulani people in government. How to do anything like this?
I'm afraid that we've totally run out of time, but we have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. Emmanuel Bello is Senior Special Assistant on Public Affairs to the Taraba Governor. He is also a 2-time commissioner in the state and also a journalist. Sunrise Daily will continue in a moment. Please stay with us.